Hey, so I got some aluminum T-Track online the other day. In the past, I gotten some from Rockler that seemed to work well. This was a bit cheaper. It was $15 for 48 inches of T-Track. It does have pre-drilled holes. They're not countersunk. They don't have like the shape there for that, but that shouldn't be a huge deal. We'll find out. I was gonna make a new crosscut sled. The one I have, the guy before me who owned this saw, this is one that he made. It's got a little bit of play to it. Obviously that's not going to help for accuracy. And this is just, if you don't know what a crosscut sled is, it's something that rides in the miter slot there. There's the strip that rides in the miter slot, and instead of having your miter gauge, it's something that's riding in both slots, and you just put your workpiece on here and it slides across the blade. Like so. It's been really helpful and integral in the shop, and I thought it was about time to make something that has a T-Track going across the back, like a dedicated stop there, as well as just obviously being a little more accurate. This is an extension I made from a miter gauge that has a slot in it that was cut with this T-Track router bit. It has like the shape of a T to it, and that way these flange bolts can fit in that groove, like so, and you could lock them down. And this was my stop. This was working well enough, but I wasn't sure if I'm going to go and make a whole crosscut sled, if I should use this to cut the T-Tracks for it or not. I was kind of thinking all that effort, it'd be nice to have a metal one if it's something I'll be using a lot. I use this an okay amount, but at the same time, a crosscut sled would work a little better than this little miter gauge extension thing. So the only other time I've used the T-Track material is in this router table fence that attaches to my table saw fence. You can loosen or tighten here the feather board and the guard, that kind of thing, to make sure this is held down firmly to the router bit, and this guard is just a safety thing with a piece of clear plexiglass over it here to keep chips from flying up at you, that kind of thing. It's worked really well. I don't know that there's a whole lot of difference in T-Track materials. This seems just as bulky and good as the other one that was a bit cheaper. So I think it'll be good to use it for the crosscut sled. I've had a lot of luck using this. I like using this router table fence. Sometimes it's a bit of a hassle, the fact that there's a router table in the table saw. You have to make sure you do all your table saw type cuts before you set up this fence and get it just right to make all the stuff on your router table. If you mess up something and you need to go back to the table saw, you have to like take off this fence and kind of reset up the cut for the table saw and then reset up the cut for here. So it's a little bit of a pain, but for being such a small shop, I think it's really nice and keeps it compact. So I got two pieces of that aluminum T-Track, and I'm not quite sure the fate yet of all of it. I think it'd be nice to have a better table for my drill press, with a piece of T-Track across the back for a dedicated stop, maybe one in the actual bed of this table for hold downs. I've never really done that much big stuff on it since the smaller drill press. That might kind of be overkill for a drill press this size. So I'm not quite sure how I'm going to use that. I might also use the T-Track bit I have here to route into some hardwood and make my own T-Track out of hardwood. Basically, I was wondering, has anyone out there used these bits to make T-Track and use this to make your own T-Track out of hardwood? I've seen these done in MDF before, but I didn't know if it even runs well in hardwood or just the bit turns to crap really soon or what. It's not the kind of thing you can take light passes, since it kind of goes right into the wood there at the depth it's going to be. Anyway, just something I was curious about if anyone's done that before. There's lots of different jigs out there for all these machines, and I'm just trying to get something a little more accurate going, make some better repeatability for cuts there, that kind of thing, especially with the crosscut sled for the table saw. I think that's the biggest deal right now. So our next video is going to be a jig on how to make this design out of wood. You can use it in a box top or put a picture frame it and hang it on the wall, that kind of thing. You can also use it in a number of other woodworking projects. Just a simple design, something to add some flavor, add some color to whatever project you're working on. If it's your first time making a jig, it should be really fun. It's a pretty simple miter gauge extension thing. It's kind of nice when you first get a table saw and you're getting into woodworking. It's kind of empowering to be like, I made the thing to help me make the thing, you know what I mean? So it's nice to have something on the wall you can just pull down and plug in and use and create this kind of whenever you want to add to whatever project you're already doing. So I'm wrapping up that video now. Be sure to check back and subscribe to the channel. Thanks.